Your angels are speaking to you. Do you hear them? Welcome to The Calling of Light with author and empathic spiritual tarot reader Anne-Marie Odell. The Calling of Light offers direct, empathic insight and relatable spiritual topics, interviews with special spiritual guests, and straight talk call-in readings. Kick back and enjoy free-form spirit tea with Anne-Marie, the way you like it best when you want to simplify. Here is your host, Anne-Marie Odell.
Well, Annie, aloha.
Aloha.
My kako, everyone. My name is Lana. Doing what we love best, which is talking about these kinds of stories. My story started out, I'm a Navy brat and grew up all over the Western Pacific Rim tour of duty. My dad was in the Navy, and I spent most of my childhood on the island of Oahu in Hawaii. And I was able to be privileged with a great childhood. I would never trade anything in the world for it. So what is Aloha Spirit? It is compassion. It's an intelligent compassion. And as you can see all around you, every time somebody mentions Aloha, it's contagious. So that Aloha Spirit is a very high vibration that everyone can relate to, and it spreads to everyone. So whatever aloha means to you, alo, it's a divinity that comes from God. Ha is the breath. So it's a creative first line act.
Ooh, I like that.
When it's also God spoke, he made a sound and he created the universe, us. So, and peace and aloha as the Elohim are several lines down in the first part of Genesis. So there's a lot of correlation there, but aloha is typically defined as kindness, compassion, mercy, general goodwill towards others. And it's a big deal in the Hawaiian culture. When someone gives aloha to you, well, you're compelled to give it right back to someone else, to pay it forward, because it feels that good to be that much in gratitude for being and sharing your life force with another.
When someone says aloha to you, it is important that you say aloha back then.
Yes, because in the tradition of the Hawaiians, when you say aloha, you are actually doing a ritual where we touch foreheads, pineal gland to pineal gland, nose to nose, and we exchange a breath together. When you allow someone to be that close to you, you are removing your boundaries, your barriers, your limitations, and it's just spirit to spirit. That to me is aloha.
I was looking through Facebook, of course, and there was a woman that just had birthed in the ocean, surrounded by dolphins. And evidently, this is something that they're beginning to do a lot because it is such a religious experience. The dolphins actually circle and they watch the birth happen, and they seem to be very drawn in a very spiritual way, which seems spiritual to the woman that is birthing.
It's very mothering.
Of course, there were those who said, now, wait a minute, sometimes dolphins can be assholes. But, for the most part, it was just only good experiences that anybody had ever had with this childbirthing experience, which I thought of when you were saying nose to nose, and it seems that they do relish in-person mystical moments, as well as who knows how many times they have saved swimmers or saved, boats on the sea. Their mission seems so beautiful and so in tune with compassion. And I
Yes.
know wherever there's a minister, there can be an asshole minister. So I'm not saying that all dolphins are perfect, but I do feel that they have that mystical, beautiful essence about them. And aloha and being their message certainly registers with me.
Yes, very much so.
So what about the peace part?
Well, okay, now Annie, you know I teach about magic. You know, and
Explain that to me. A lot of people don't understand that.
Well, magic in a nutshell is the art and science of transformation of yourself into the best that you can be. And one of the ways to do it is to look at the ancient books, get esoteric. And one of the things I do is I delve into Kabbalah in terms of Hermeticism, in terms of transformation. That is the term shalom. As far as I can tell, it means completeness, but it also commonly means peace. Shalom is worth it. And I teach classic Golden Dawn, meaning as close to the original esoteric order of the Golden Dawn as possible, because the main goal of it is to know thyself by giving you a set of ideas, a set of exercises that turn into skills that can help you transmute negative energies into positive energies, neutralizing them effectively so that everything is in balance, to keep everything in balance around you and within you. Yes, well, because, dolphins are travelers. And I said they are ambassadors on this planet, ambassadors of peace and aloha. They travel. So they are able to communicate in different ways to all of humanity. And I think learning something about transmuting your self, your 3D self, into your higher consciousness self is something that is a message that can be conveyed in different ways. And one of those ways is through Kabbalah, through the study of Hermetics, through the study of alchemy. Annie, they're all pieces of a puzzle. They're all threads in the tapestry of life. We all have the power to choose. And some of us vibe more with some ideas than others.
Alchemy. Alchemy to a lot of people is turning things into gold. So talk about spiritual alchemy and how that can often translate to and spiritual messages from the dolphins.
Most of the time, we are in this mindset in the majority of unpeaceful, broken, divisive, hot circumstances where people are mostly angry, hurt, about to explode. That is where most people's mindsets are today. But we also know that war is not the answer. Bad marriages, busted relationships, divisive politics, with some exceptions, are too frequently brought to heel by people who have committed themselves to peace, to shalom. We're tempted instead to win, to prove to whomever gets in our way that we're in the right. And we feel threatened in these arenas, overwhelmed by the temptation to protect ourselves above all else. And most of the time, however, there is no threat. But regardless, we're angry and afraid and we go to war.
I like that. Most of the time, our anger is you have to have tuning into our own changing that angry reality, tuning into the peacefulness of the dolphins, and also making it a part of who you are as the yin yang balance, so that you can walk as a person on this earth with not only compassion but with also logic. How do the angels and dolphins work together in your mindset as far as channeling the energy, frequencies, vibrations, vibes?
Well, because they're archetypes. Even the dolphin is an archetype. You think about, what is a dolphin? You know, it's a mammal. It breathes air. It doesn't process it like extracting the oxygen from the water molecules the way the fish do. It's actually more human than not. So that is an example of a mindset to be as an archetype. That's how I look at angels as well. Yes, we see these fancy, beautiful images in iconography of angels and divine beings, but I can't relate to that because I've never met that person. But if I meditate on that angel, perhaps I can commune with it with using the right words to put me in that mindset so that I can commune with that energy. I can relate to it. I can become a part of that energy signature.
So each name of the angel basically becomes like the name of a Reiki symbol. That energy of that name of that archangel becomes the essence, the vibration, the energy, not as a beautiful storybook, handsome, beautiful angel illustration, but becomes the energy of that, just as a Reiki symbol would become, right?
Yes, because when I do the Melchizedek training, I'm telling you, the universe was created through sound, and sound began to become more solid when it became color. And then when it finally hits us, it's material. It's got a 3D feel to it. You know, so you're communicating in a chord, in a harmonic. And when you invoke divine names, you are singing the universe's song, even a piece of
including
it.
The dolphins.
Including the dolphins. And the dolphins, because they communicate with sound, sonar, it all makes sense to me. There's a theme there. We're watching, you know. And so what is that choice? I already said it. Okay, I have the freedom to choose my whatever I input into society, good or bad. And if I want to bring change into this world, if I expect the change in the world to make it a better place, now I can't act, I can't parent, I can't blog, I can't even drive my car like a jackass and then blame everyone else for how crappy everything is around me. So my religion, my spirituality, my worldview, and the way I want the world to be is a charge. It is a duty with, what is it? Is it an awful task? I don't think so. It is a task of choosing the way of peace, aloha, shalom.
Because I think logic has to be in there somewhere.
It does. We need to have the ability to discern when it's time to go toe to toe, and when it's time to slap someone in the face with peace, kindness, compassion, mercy, forgiveness, reconciliation. A lot of people don't expect you to give a response in that manner. There's an American obsession with strength, and the corollary to that is the fear of weakness. So it begs a person to go to war, while scripture, on the other hand, is telling you be at peace as much as you can.
But that's a contradiction, because the religious people the really religious fanatics now are also going in that way. Let's make sure guns are here to blow away the children, but let's not have abortion to take away the children away.
And so that's why St. Paul's letter to the Roman Christians said, do not repay anyone evil for evil. Carefully consider what is right in the eyes of everybody. If it is possible in adverse circumstances.
And it pisses them off sometimes.
It's there in scripture. So if you're a Christian, if you're a Muslim,
anything
that looks to the Quran, anything, it's there, and you have choices. I'm not supposed to take revenge on any level. According to Paul, I'm supposed to leave it to God. That's his job. And that's a hard one to believe for most of us. And myself, on some days, I wouldn't score myself high on that one either. We have this conundrum, but the bottom line in all of this is the bottom line. I'm getting older and I'm getting more tired. And I'm beginning to believe that 99% of the time, peace or shalom and aloha, or whatever you want to call it, is the best strategy. It's not the easiest choice. Peace requires a level of maturity and faith that are taxing to most people. Faith is just a knowing that something is righteous.
I think about Jesus. I think about Buddha. I think about the dolphins. All those made, not the dolphins so much, but the great masters, pissed off a lot of people. So many of them are persecuted. Beautiful messages of peace have to go to those who listen. But it's getting harder and harder to find those specific audiences that will listen, because a lot of the whole society, like you say, is getting angrier and angrier.
I have to do my part to make sure that my world is more together and less divided, because anger, division, hatred, isolation, it doesn't heal, and it just makes everything worse. And there are so many people who've committed themselves to the forces that oppose peace and aloha. So what do? Well, we have to think about these concepts in this way, Annie. Peace, shalom, aloha, whatever language you're speaking that you can relate to. They all have one goal, and that is to bring healing and reconciliation into our world right now, to create a space for mercy, compassion, kindness, sacrifice, and all the other things that drive us together, which is where we want to be. That's where the dolphins want us to be too. See, the dolphins are here to remind us that our interactions with our children, our friendships, social media, and the meager blog attempts that we make, they're all entry points into humanity. So why not peace coming together? And that's why I feel very, I felt very compelled to talk about it today.
We spoke about how, for those who are novelists of spirit, I mean, and we're not talking about, and I would suppose, if you are someone that is comfortable and more comfortable with just one way of thinking and believing that that one way of thinking is the only way of thinking, then perhaps this doesn't happen. But most people that step into spirit or spirituality, as we said, often find themselves branching into different spiritual modalities. And that's all right, that those different spiritual modalities don't take you off track. They just combine to make what your mission was even stronger and more powerful, I believe. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I do. And again, it's all about choice. And you have the choice to stay in your lane, not expand because it's comfortable and safe, or you can break out of your shell, open up your mind because your mind has no boundaries. And it starts with the person. Everybody thinks, oh, I can't do anything. It's bigger than myself. But you're a being of spiritual greatness. Aloha u haninuyao. You are spirit greatness. You are capable of doing whatever you choose to do. So there's a choice you can make. It's a choice to be happy. It's a choice to give respect, to be hospitable, to be compassionate. It is a choice because we were all born with free will. And I think we're doing too much of the opposite. Oh, I don't care. I'm going to do whatever I want and be indifferent. And we are hurting the environment, the oceans especially.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's just spreading. So we need to make the choice. We need to make the choice. And in my mind, that choice isn't a choice at all. Because if you want to live pono, to live righteously, in harmony with everything around you, there is no choice. There's only one way. And for me, that's the Aloha way. And the dolphins are here to translate that as be kinder to each other, be more compassionate, be more merciful, be less vindictive. Don't entertain revenge. All those things that are really out in the forefront right now, make a better choice as much as I am able. And God,
all right.
God help me. That's it.
As she turned into a dolphin and flew and swam away.
Swam away.
Okay, we're going to stop here and Victoria Lanakila, and we'll have a ton of new questions and a ton of new off-the-wall subjects for you. Thank you.
OMTimes TV.
Hi, my name is Anne-Marie Odell, and thank you for inviting me in for tarot and coffee. I offer 37 plus years of accurate, honest tarot channeling. Spirit comes through me as a feeling, an inner knowing. I call it the angel frequency. As you say your first name, I close my eyes and shuffle my well-worn card as I go into a deep calm. By phone, Skype, or Zoom, contact me at thecallingoflight.com.
Imagine becoming a super influencer. Reinvent yourself, invest in your brand, and then manifest your success with a robust spheric approach. OMTimes Media and Broadcasting offers a unique and multifaceted way to become the spiritual and conscious influencer you deserve to be by putting your message across our powerful platform with its proven record of integrity and excellence. Through our produced shows, OMTimes offers the opportunity to become a social media TV personality, a radio show host, an OMTimes magazine columnist, and a syndicated podcaster, all in one shot. By live streaming your show on OMTimes TV and broadcasting it across the extensive OMTimes radio and TV networks, you become more than a host. You become an ambassador and a force for positive change. OMTimes. Open yourself to the possibilities.
If I could be you, and you could be me for just 1 hour. If we could find a way to get inside each other's minds. Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes. Well, before you abuse, criticize, and accuse, walk a mile in my shoes.
When somebody comes to me and they want to learn from me and they don't know where to start, because they know I'm a magician, they know I'm a Melchizedek High Priest, but they want to know, well, how do I get started? And I'll tell them, start with the Reiki. Want to be able to intone that. Like chokure is hoeki. That's not chokure. But when you expand that sound, you are conveying the vibration of that symbol. It's a method, is one of many. I just lectured about this the other day with my Golden Dawn students about ritual work. Vibration is one of the 5 factors that you need to manifest your intentions in this 3D. It's one of the 5. When you vibrate, you become that energy. And so like a tuning fork, you're sending out the ripples, and that changes everything. It changes the airspace, and it changes everything that is connected to that moment of materiality. So if that makes any sense.
So how do you combine that with the messages of the dolphins that you felt?
Well, the dolphins use sonar.
I like that. Okay, so now see, back, and I am talking to Victoria Lanakila. And one of the things that I was really taken back by was her interesting take on what a good teacher is. And so I would like you to kind of go back to that. What is it that you feel a good teacher is? What inspires students?
And I love people, and I love talking to them and crying with them, and laughing with them. Yeah. These things help me to get closer.
What is what is your teacher procedure?
My teaching perspective originates from my heart with aloha. So when I'm teaching, I am teaching with aloha. I am putting myself in the student's chair again, and I'm trying to visualize and imagine the questions that are formulating in the student's mind, including, can I accomplish knowing this topic at all? Is this too much for me? Should I just walk away from it? So for me, as an instructor, as a mentor, as a guide, I want to entice my student with curiosity to look at an idea. Are you on board with it? You're not? Why not? Simple questions to ask at first, but to draw who they are out so that when they're doing things like Reiki or magic, or healing, they're doing it with a great understanding of who they are and why they're doing what they're doing, not just going through the motions and saying, okay, I'm done, you should be healed. No, it's got to be authentic.
In other words, to me, that means that as a kid, I had really severe ADD, or additional dimension disorder, as I call it. And it was very difficult to just sit down in the mundane, logical, scholastic world of where expanding into thought process of why. It was just, this is it. Kind of like religion, why I flunked out in catechism, because I couldn't quit asking questions. And they finally said, please don't come back, to my mother, because she asked too many questions. I think that the problem is that accepting someone's knowledge, but with no ability to have that teacher remember what it was like to be that student, to not necessarily want to just be preached to, but to have someone perk their curiosity, excite them, make them feel special, is so part of it.
It is part of it. You need to remember as a teacher how it was when you were learning it. And I always put myself within the rank and file. Always. It's the only place to be, because when I do that, I learn something too. And I'm the most receptive to that kind of gift that my students give me.
Are you born a teacher? Are people born teachers, or is it learned? It's like, kind of like I say, is a counselor a learned thing, or is a counselor almost a life mission? I mean, do you have that special gift to be able to teach that makes you fall into that mission in your life? Is a life teacher a gift?
We are all teachers in ourselves. And the difference is how humble you are with respect to
yes.
Yeah, I have a lot of paper behind my name. That's true. But it matters not a wink when it comes to talking to another person.
Right.
What does all that mean? What does all that education mean? That just means that I know how to take tests. And I know how to express myself writing and hopefully speaking in a formal setting. But the real test is the one-on-one, which is my favorite. I love mentoring people one-on-one, because
why I love being taught by you, because you're not afraid to answer my questions. Talk about your three pillars. Talk about your 3 pillars of spiritual consciousness.
Out of the halal and out of my magical order. So the first prong would be the Usui Teate Reiki and the Grandmaster steps that go with it. That's one pillar, because through the Reiki, I teach you how to feel the energy, what it really feels like, and how to move it. So the next pillar would be the magic, the Golden Dawn magic, through excuse me, my grand temple of Horus Bedetti. That's horusbedetti.com, by the way. And
Okay.
through that paradigm, I'm propagating Golden Dawn magic in the Western Mysteries tradition. It's called Western Mysteries because we cover alchemy, Hermeticism, Kabbalah, tarot. Those are all from Western culture base, but brought together in a certain definite formula. That's what characterizes Golden Dawn magic. There's a definite formula. And so that's a second pillar, because that's how you take the energy that you now feel and feel it within you, channeling it through your intentions, and then projecting it out, incorporating divine names, not vary. And
so then after they get into Reiki and they feel the energy,
then I get them into.
And may I ask you, I just certified second level Reiki, and I was just having a heck of a time with all the symbols. When you are doing a Reiki session, do you visualize every single one of the sessions? Sometimes I feel like the Reiki sandwich or whatever that I work on with myself and my animals and things is easier than trying to visualize and do with my tongue on the roof of my mouth and all these different symbols. Are you doing every single symbol that you in your mind? Are you saying them? How are you doing that?
Well, for one thing, Annie, my style of Reiki is not published anywhere. Yours, it is Usui's original system of natural healing. Usui Teate Reiki is, and we use sound to heal. We don't use the symbols the way Mrs. Takata. Why? Because you have to know what the energy feels like. And how do you know unless somebody actually makes that connection for you? Most people say they know, including a lot of magicians, but they haven't had that experience. So I'm using the hierarchy of the archangels, the planets, the astrology, the elements here on Earth all together to try to commune and be one with these vibrations that match my magical intent. And the reason why you've got all these other things happening is because they sanitized the Reiki system on purpose, because when they brought it to the West, when Mrs. Takata brought it to the West, it was post-World War II. Everybody was Japanese fearful.
I love that.
That's just the history. Yeah, that's the history. So I'm not dissing Western Reiki, but I'm saying that it's not complete because they sanitize the Shinto out of it, the spiritual aspect. That's why they're adding Tibetan this and Kundalini that and orbs here and whatever, because they took out what I think is the heart of that Reiki, which is the sound.
So you're not channeling symbols then?
We don't need to. We have those symbols there.
They've already become a part of you.
Yeah, we have those symbols there. And in the Grandmaster ranks, because I teach the Grandmaster Reiki ranks too, and we take on the symbol. All the symbols are
become a part of you.
In kanji, they're in Japanese.
Right.
Become that idea.
And that's another crazy thing, is that every time I am studying the symbols, I learned on my Reiki 1, they were the same kanji symbols, but written differently than the next one that showed me the same kanji symbols in a different way. The chokurei was a whole different direction than the second one I saw.
And see, that's the danger. That's the danger of people who claim mastership with only 3 levels. It's like and then you're propagating something you don't really understand. And I see that. I know what you're going through. It really pisses me off because the Reiki masters who are propagating the stuff, they need to stay with their students and nurture their understanding, not just take their money and say, bye-bye, you got your attunement, see you later. You know, that's not right.
Yeah,
that's not right. No, that's why I have classes, you know, and I encourage my students to continue practicing. Our Reiki has one ritual in it, which Western Reiki doesn't, and aside from the attunement. And we do that ritual every day, you know, and that segues you into magical practice where you have to do like your banishings every day, you know.
Your what?
Your banishings. Yes. Your banishing.
What is that?
That is creating a sacred space within which you can work your spiritual magic. And
so for you, creating the magic is what?
Me creating the magic is me expressing myself divinely. That is the magic. So it's not like all at once. If my intention is a certain way, then I go to my notes. If I wanted to manifest more money, that's earth magic. So I go and I do earth-based rituals using Oriel, because he is the angel that overlights the earth, you know, and then he's got the choir of angels that he works with, or she works with, plus there's spirits of intelligence that get invoked. You know, it's like a machine. You give the command, they implement right on down the line. That's how magic works. And knowing that that's the trickle down effect is the studying part. Because when you put
the trickle down effect is when you, and this is off the wall, I know. The one thing I know for sure is that once you get into spirituality, you either decide to stop and only focus on one way, but it's very hard to do because spirituality seems to jump into new and more complex and detailed modalities.
You can't unring the bell.
You know,
why is that? Because you open your mind every single time and you open it differently. And it's like, I want to learn that. I got to remember that. I was inspired. You know, it's like that.
So I started realizing that even reading tarot for my clients, I began to realize that creating a sacred space in which I used the channeling of Reiki into even my readings as I did them still opened a new space for me to combine Reiki and tarot reading at one time. And that it allowed me to bring peace, offer peace through my readings. And if they needed more, I offered more. But the main thing I do every single day is combine what I channel through peace with Reiki, and even do the chokeray with my cards. And
you know, God, that pain.
You're very scholastic and you're very intelligent.
Thank you.
And I think it offers you a very wide space to place all these different spiritual levels in one place, one sacred space. So I can see why you have incorporated all these into one.
But you know what? That's just paper. You know, the thing of all of it is that, hey, I walked away from my law career to do this.
Yeah, you didn't. So you're not with your law anymore.
No, not since 2009. And that's when I left Vallejo to join Isis Temple down in Los Angeles. I changed my life. Renaissance.
Renaissance. Thank you. Are
That's,
all of those specific energies? Are the
yes, they
archangels
are.
all specific? I mean, to me, angels go beyond being Victoria's Secret people. They're not models. They're energy, right?
They're
And I
energies
think
and they're archetypes.
Mhm.
Archetypes. So you take on the energy, you take on the mindset. That's what an archetype is. What is
Okay.
it about that angel? And that's part of the study of magic. It's transformative because in the understanding that you acquire in studying about all these esoteric components, you find yourself. If that's in a nutshell, that's the process of learning the magic. You find yourself, who you are. And then the third aspect, the third column of my school is the Melchizedek priesthood, which is a priesthood training program for our Melchizedek order, the Magdalena Ordinis Venite. Which is the
And
Magdalene order.
and the Magdalene order is what again?
The Magdalene order of the Blue Rose, which
And
is
what is that?
a suborder of the bigger cosmic Alpha et Omega order of Melchizedek. That through that order is the service that I feel we owe to humanity. So the knowledge that we develop within that Melchizedek order is global. It goes back to the Dolphins. We're here as servitors for this, guardian servitors for this planet. And we're here to strike the balance between all the negativity and nurture the more positive so that everything is in balance the way it should be. So for me, those three pillars create a very solid paradigm from which I communicate with others, with students, and with other people, and with the things around me.
Speak to me about one of the things that we discussed on how you teach Reiki, because so many of us who study, first and second level Reiki are taught that the symbols are what we channel as we begin to focus in on the Reiki energy entering into us. And so you said something different about the chokorei and what everything. Tell me about that.
Well, Annie, my style of Reiki is not in any of the books that you're going to buy at Barnes and Noble, and it's not online. It is Usui's original system of natural healing, Usui Teate Reiki. And we heal with sound. We've been healing with sound for a long time, longer than this new age wave that is recognizing Masaru Emoto's work. It's been around forever, but modern people have not appreciated that aspect of the knowledge until the last 10 years. And what we do in Usui Teate is, yes, we have symbols, but the symbol is only the characterization of the energy. What is important is the sound. So even at level 1, your first symbol is the word Reiki in the kanji, because every brushstroke means something. So as you're meditating on Reiki, that is your first symbol. And you are the two shaman that are depicted above in the top part of the Reiki kanji. You are both sides of yourself bringing down the energy, because in the bottom part, it's showing you that energy sprouts new growth. So right away, we teach you. That's what the Japanese were thinking when they wrote that symbol. So that's the first jumping off point. So I tell
you had a tone. Do that tone again that you gave me.
That's first level Reiki. Mm-hmm. Second level, yes, we have the 3 symbols, but we do not emphasize the drawing of the symbols so much as the sound, the kotodama. So chokure is not just, do this symbol and that's it. It's more like it's a vibration. And that vibration is like when you throw a stone into a placid lake and the ripples start to fan out.
And why your messages from the dolphins came through so strongly, correct? For your messages from the dolphins.
Yes. As soon as that happens, you're changing whatever's around you. And you need to be able to visualize it, which you can when you take examples from nature, which is another aspect of Usui Teati Reiki that really has been sanitized, the Shinto aspect of the healing system itself. Because in Shinto, all your teachers are out there in nature. So the lake with the waves going the way it is when you throw a stone in it is teaching you how the energy moves. When you want to gather yourself in silence, to be still, which is another aspect of communicating magically. It's one of those skills. You can look to a mountain and you see it's not moving. Now that seems pretty obvious and maybe even too simple for a lot of Westerners, and yet the concept, the notion of being steadfast and silent is there. And that's those values, those imageries are what distinguish our Reiki from Western Reiki. And then I teach it all the way up through the Grandmaster ranks. And in the Grandmaster ranks, every level has a Japanese kanji as a symbol. So you become that energy.
And that's what I found interesting, was that you're not drawing the symbols. You are the symbols. They become a part of you, correct?
Yeah, they become a part of you. So as you are invoking chokure or invoking seiheki, you feel that energy. We also use our symbols differently. I know that Western Reiki people are taught seiheki, that looks like Barney when you draw it. They use that for scanning only. I use it for healing at a certain level because it's got a lesser level energy-wise than chokure. So that's how I'm envisioning how to use those symbols. And so when you invoke it with the sound, you can actually feel it in you. So for me, that makes projecting the Reiki more accurate. So I can feel it, I'm visualizing it, and I'm sending it at the same time. So yes, as a Reiki practitioner, you are a hollow bone where you're not creating that energy, you're just channeling it. And you are feeling peace. Somewhere in your soul, there's a recognition of their peace and connectedness, their sounds, their energies, their thoughts are becoming recognizable to you. The dolphins have come to take you on a spiritual journey through the gateways of the physical world and into the higher realms. So let's swim with them and allow your minds to listen to their sounds, feeling their vibrations, becoming your thoughts, your vibrations, and your inclination to follow their teachings. Their teachings are all about being at peace, remembering the connection you have with one another, choosing aloha as your first reaction to any situation. So enjoy your journey into this awareness of the Dolphin collective unconsciousness. And I bid you in peace. Peace be with you.
Thank you, Lana. I cried. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
You have a good one too. Aloha.
Aloha.